Hello everyone and welcome to the Waffles the Good Boy Bonefeather Cagelocke coverage for the Green Division. We'll be covering week 2 and 3 double feature. Why? Because I missed last week. I can't really explain it any better than that. My name is ProPokeNoob, but thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to be bringing you through all the action you need to know and keep up with if you are keeping up with this tournament. Our 8 participants of the Green Division started off in Kanto 2 weeks ago and are still trying to make their way towards that Elite Four in hopes that they're going to have the best seeding for the 6v6 tournament at the end of this Nuzlocke endeavor. We're going to be taking through a look at all the stats that you need to know, as well as the battles and 1v1s that they have conducted throughout week 2 and 3. I have to keep adding that now to all of the script things that I don't have here. And we're gonna give you some information you need to know if you are a person who hasn't played this game very much, or if you've played it a lot, you kind of know the type of stuff that could be happening. And let's see how many things our players could have completed within 2.5 hours at each checkpoint. We're starting off with a Misty checkpoint. It was a bit of trial and tribulation to the Green Division. Lots of deaths, lots of resets in the beginning of the week 1, and week 2 did not disappoint. If you are here to look for death, you have come to the right place, because there was a hell of a lot of death happening in week 2 when it came to the Green Division. Once again, let's cover our 8 players here. That Duck, Craig, Steph, Joe Fluff, Code Warlock, the Chrisman 15, Scrubby Nubby Doo, Zikafoos, and LC93. We had some interesting 1v1 starting off at the beginning. We didn't know exactly what type of metagame people are going to be trying to play here, whether or not they wanted to actually try and win the statistical odds to get the higher seeding, or if they were going to start using some throwaway Pokemon. Once we start having more access to more routes to catch for this Nuzlocke, the more interesting this is going to become. And Misty doesn't have a lot that you could really go do. You've got access to Route 25 or 24 and 25 for a catch. You also have Mount Moon, which these players would have gone into. So once we pass the Brock checkpoint, now you have access to more of the map. You've got Route 3, Route 4, which have been both unlocked, 24, 25. Now, because technically, I can't remember exactly in Fire Red whether or not you could go past. Let me check what they caught here. Chances are... Yeah, I think they can, because if they got Mr. Mime, that means they traded. So yeah, once you beat Bill, it unlocks the Misty part, like the Rocket section, Team Rocket section, where it's blocking you from going through down into Vermilion. So there's a lot of areas that actually open up pre-cut, and once we get into the Lieutenant Surge checkpoint, spoilers, you pretty much have almost more than half the game, you know, breaking out. So nonetheless, a lot of these players went out, tried to get stuff done within their allotted time. As you can see, there are a fair amount of catches, some of the ones that we can go over that you'd be actually wanting to keep your eyes on when it comes to week 2. That Mr. Mime that you can trade for outside of Diglett's cave, very, very scary. Diglett, I believe, is also accessible. Not sure if people went to go catch it, or if people were able to catch it. How do you get Mr. Mime beforehand? Nice, Bowman. Mount Moon in this version? Oh, even better. Look at that. I don't even know the changes that happen to those things. Well, nonetheless, Mr. Mime is a great pickup. Will get better with TMs over time and with a little bit more grinding. It is one of those Pokemon that just learns a lot of its own typing attack, but nonetheless, Psychic is a really hard typing to resist, as there are not a lot of Steel types that are really in Gen 1 other than Magnemite. You're not going to find those anytime soon. Steel is not there. A lot of resistance is not there, so Psychic type Pokemon will be kind of scary for the majority of anyone's rosters, unless they have a strong physical attacker like Raticate, or as we're going to see later, Tauros. But in that Duck slot, Pikachu, Eevee, Spearow, Jigglypuff, Zubat, and Geodude caught. The Pidgey, of course, becoming a Pidgeotto and Wigglytuff on the side here for week 2. Wigglytuff is kind of the, in my opinion, the weaker of the two normal type Moonstone evolutions, only because that Wigglytuff doesn't learn as much as what Clefable can learn later, and Wigglytuff has its stats more in its HP rather than overall in its base stat totals. It can do work. It's very susceptible to the multitude of Bulbasaurs that people are running in this, and any Pokemon that are going to be having access to Leech Seed, gonna see a lot of problems there, especially if the poison is gonna be a lot of HP just ticking down and could become a problem for a lot of players who are trying to use the Wigglytuff in their cage matches. Craig Steph catching the Nidorail, Rattata, Ekans, Mr. Mime, Geodude, Bellsprout, and Abra. A good amount. Now, of course, this isn't this is also compiling onto what their teams were before. I don't have that good of an attention span or a memory to be able to remember what they had last time. I'd have to be flipping through all of them to try and go with that. Based on what we see with these catches, a nice haul. Arbok later on can become a bit of a threat. Mr. Mime, of course, being one of those premier Pokemon that you could see. Geodude, Bellsprout, and the like. Abra can get really good if you can stay within the run and keep it alive, get it to that Kadabra state, and be able to start getting it some of its more powerful attacks. It even has a little bit of utility if you want to bring that. And we'll talk about when we get to that point in the levels when trainers will start being able to use more recovery strats, which are very important when you can't use items in the Cagelocks. How that can actually influence, particularly when nobody has 31 IVs in every single Pokemon, unless they are absolutely a god, which is highly unlikely. Joe Flux catching the Jigglypuff, Spearow, Nidoran, Female, Sandshrew, Zubat, and Ekans. Believe it or not, Golbat, not a half bad Pokemon if that gets ground up there. Has access to Dual Stab. It can be a bit obnoxious with the Confuse Ray. You could cheese out some kills there. It's not a half bad Pokemon in my opinion to bring to cage matches because in a 1v1 situation, that hacks can really get on people's nerves. The Parafusion does exist, or sorry, the Flinch Fusion does exist between Bite and Confuse Ray. That could become quite problematic, as well as just stuff like Stab, Wing Attack can become very dangerous, especially with the Pokemon that you have access to. So Joe Fluff hopefully actually making use of that Zubat in future iterations of the cage matches. Code Warlock catches Jigglypuff, Nidorino. I think it was Nidoran. I don't know. It looks like he caught the Nidorino, maybe. I'm just going off this. Zubat, Paris, Ekans, Sandshrew, Geodude, and Mr. Mime. Getting access to that Mr. Mime, again, is going to be the top of what you could find, potentially, based on the information that I have here. But Code Warlock has been doing pretty well. Won the cage match last week. Do expect this particular player to just have a lot of power Pokemon, have a lot of inklings to try and win and keep the good standings during the cage matches. Obviously, as you remember, if you lose the cage match, you lose that Pokemon. And if you have this much of a roster, you may have things to throw away, but you could also dumpster other people and make your entrance into the 6v6 at the end of the 8 weeks that much more enjoyable. So hopefully we will see Code Warlock continuing that rampage and try and put as many players in uncomfortable positions as possible for their future checkpoints. Chrisman, Oddish, Bellsprout, and Spearow, not the greatest haul, gotta tell you, especially when it was one of the fastest finishes. In fact, it was the fastest finish in the Green Division. In this particular, at this particular checkpoint, kind of scary to see that it's only like grass Pokemon and a Spearow. Now, having said that, Fearow can be quite a threat. Good offensive stats, good speed. Doesn't need to take a hit or two, but it can kill everything in a hit or two. So, hopefully, whatever happens with Chrisman's run in the future with this, they will be able to make this happen. Because if you take a look at that dead pile, it's a pretty big death pile, actually. I didn't even mention that, but you had a Lickitung down the side of Duck there. Craigstev losing a lot of Pokemon. Losing that Pikachu can matter in the future because Raichu is a pretty good Pokemon. But Chrisman just having a giant pile of dead mons to his name. Not the greatest thing you want to see because less options, which means the chance of you winning in the cage match gonna be problematic. Chances of you moving forward into the run without having penalties also gonna be problematic. So hopefully they can make it work a little bit better for themselves in the future. Scrubby Nubby Doo catching that Oddish, Aber, Chansey, Paris, Ekans, and Mr. Mime. Chansey is one of those interesting Pokemon because it's so bulky yet not. Against special attackers, it's going to be very good. So against the likes of the Mr. Mime, against future Kadabras, these types of Pokemon, I think that Chansey is definitely something you hold on to for that 6v6 tournament. It's just too powerful to even risk trying to win a cage match with it, unless you know specifically your opponent has been pinned into such a corner that if they have nothing but special attackers, it's a free win for you. Because Chansey, once it gets access to soft build, once it just starts stalling things out, getting a Seismic Toss TM, getting anything like that is going to make it, you know, really interesting, at least in the 6v6. I don't know so much about the 1v1s. And of course, you have to always be worried about those Leech Seed pokes that can really benefit from a Pokemon that is touting a really high HP stat. Zikafoos catching the Wigglytuff. I think it was just a Jigglypuff. Mr. Mime, Ekans, Sandshrew, Zubat, Paris, Clefairy, Nidoran, and Magikarp. Gyarados is a powerhouse, is always a powerhouse, should always be feared, and if people keep losing their Pikachus and don't pick up an Electric-type Pokemon in their Nuzlocks, this thing is going to crush a lot of Pokemon. One of my top picks for Gen 1 in general. plethora of moves that it can learn throughout the base game. Very, very good stats. Has access to Intimidate. This thing has a lot going for itself. And as great as that haul is for Zikafus, you gotta look to the other side. The dead pile, so large it actually stretched my Google Excel sheets down where I had to adjust my screen before coming live today, because I don't even that pile is disgusting. That's disgustingly dead. That is a rotting pile of loss right there, and that is going to be very interesting to see what Zika could do at future checkpoints, because that's a lot of Pokemon that are dead, like a lot that died. Almost makes me think there was a wipe there or two. I'm not too sure, but losing the Ivysaur is also a big deal because, you know, starters generally have some decent stats. Ivysaur, Venusaur is not that bad, to be honest, especially since a lot of people pick Venusaur, so at least it's an even matchup. But overall, a good pickup here, but a lot of weak Pokemon that haven't been evolved yet, because those two Pokemon that were evolved were actually the two, I believe, only one of them made in this, a Wigglytuff, and that's kind of the, in my opinion, the weaker of the two that you'd like to see alive. So not too bad overall. We'll see what they make work with it. And finally, LC93, Ekans, Geodude, Jigglypuff, Zubat, and Mr. Mime. Unfortunately, that Mr. Mime did perish. I'm surprised there's actually a Pidgeot that made it in this amount of time. But the Pidgeot being gone, the Pikachu being gone, the Mr. Mime being gone, those are pretty powerful Pokemon that have been lost. The Wartortle and the Clefable evolutions, gonna be good. Why? Even if Clefable does not have a lot of moves it can learn on its own, eventually it'll just be able to stall it out. And one of those Pokemon, once it gets its recovery move, is gonna be super, super powerful. And with a little bit of development throughout the Nuzlocke, it's gonna be a threat. 6v6, I expect certain Pokemon not to make it into the cage matches, but unless they're forced, but rather to make it to the 6v6. I want to see the Gyarados in the 6v6. I want to see the Clefables in the 6v6. Mr. Mime, it's good, but Kadabra's better. This Pokemon we're gonna eventually see, like Tauros. I want to see that in 6v6. Chansey in the 6v6. Other Pokemon can kind of cover, try and get some cheesy kills here and there, but overall, I would rather save my powerhouses for the end, regardless of my seeding, over trying to win every single one of them and trying to get the best matchup. But based on this, there's a lot of death that happened to the Green Division, which means that the Pokemon that they're going to be choosing for the 1v1s may end up being a little bit imbalanced, might have a little bit of problems here trying to figure out what exactly they're going to use to even get some kills. So I expect pretty low tier fights, not in terms of play, but in terms of strength, because I mean, if everybody's losing a bunch of stuff, try and make them lose just a little bit more. So we'll have to see what they can make work with here as we get into the 1v1 matches for week 2. Where's my music? Where is my music? I need my music. You know the music makes the event. You guys know this, right? I hope you guys know this. Let's get into it. Week 2 matches. I actually didn't watch these for once. I only chose the order for them based on what I saw. So this is going to be even blinder for me. We got the 4 matches here. The first one being the Christmas 15 versus Zikafus. Raticate versus Wigglytuff. Raticate's got the huge advantage in this. Hyper Fang, I believe these Pokemon are adjusted to level 20? Hyper Fang is going to be very pivotal in taking down Wigglytuff. Let's see if the HP and the attack or the HP and the defense stat for the Wigglytuff is going to be enough to take down the Raticate. As Hyper Fang comes out, it's already a 45% hit. The defense scroll going to be coming out. Unfortunately, with that amount of roll, that's going to be 3 Hyper Fangs taking it down. Although the Infatuation does come out, Rollout can get the kill. Forgot about that, but does break through and does get the kill on Wigglytuff. GG, Chrisman eking out a victory there, which could have gone really, really poorly for them. But Zikafus trying to get that rollout. The defense core rollout is a super genius strategy that I completely forgot it could do. But it's not enough, and that's the problem, is it's not an offensive Pokemon, it's just a giant pile of HP, and now it's a giant pile of goop, as it has been taken out. Next match between Code Warlock and Joe Fluff. I don't think I really need to commentate this. This looks like it's going to be a very simple win here with the confusion. Half damage and the miss on the sleep powder. GG. Next. Okay. There's nothing to say to that. I don't know what to say. This one is interesting, though. The Bellsprout versus the Wartortle. Bellsprout actually has, like, base 70 and 75 stats offensively. For a tiny weed that you want out of your garden, this thing could be a pain in your ass. And Wartortle can be. It does have Bite. It does have access to a couple of other things early on. But overall, if we see any type of status coming out here, Bellsprout can try and take the victory here with the type advantages. The bite comes through, that's a lot of damage. If it doesn't flinch, gets a lot. Sleep Powder is going to be used, which means now we got some turns. We have to wait here to see if the Wartortle can make it through. The Vine Whip is a decent amount. That is a 3-hit KO. They do need to wake up and flinch it if LC wants to keep the Wartortle, as Craig is just whipping away, and he whipped so hard. Willow Smith is jealous. GG. Craig actually getting down a very good Pokemon off of LC's team. Obviously, we can't replace the starters, so, you know, Wartortle's dead, and that's a huge deal. Craig getting that. This is the type of the lower tier wins that I would like to see, because that's the type of advantage. Bellsprout, yeah, Victory Bell could be good later on. Weeping Bell could be okay later on, but overall, Bellsprout beating out a Pokemon like that is very important, and it's going to be quite crippling, in my opinion, to LC's team, especially going forward in the future checkpoints. Not so much as the Surge checkpoint, but later on. Last match here, it's Oddish versus Mankey. I don't know exactly how to feel about this matchup, because theoretically Oddish should win, right? You have to run on Fury Swipes or Scratch if you kept that on your Mankey. Oddish resists that it could take it. It also could heal. It could status. This could be very interesting to see how it goes, but let's take a look at how it's going to look. Never mind, it's got Mega Punch. That's a lot of damage, but the Poison Powder coming through, that might indicate it didn't teach good stuff here in terms of stats he could be using. The Absorb is okay. With a miss, he could heal up to take another Mega Punch, and it's not going to matter. The Oddish is squished, and that Duck wins. I forgot Mega Punch was even a thing you could teach. I guess it's that outside, tutor, right? Outside of Mount Moon. Nonetheless, would like to see a Sleep Powder there. The Poison is good, but I think Poison would be better in a 6v6 because Sleep, as you saw with the Bellsprout, is just so powerful. Even Stun Spore would be really, really good. So I don't know exactly what level you learn Poison Powder, Stun Spore, and all that on the Oddish, but GG nonetheless. That Duck preserves the Mankey, which means that Mankey can be used at a future time when it would be important. So good matches all around for the Week 2 cage matches. Let's take a look at the implications of this, because I don't exactly remember them. So give me 1 second. Boom. Okay, here we go. Because it is important to note what happened with all these Pokemon and how that's actually going to influence the teams going forward, right? As we said, or as I've been constantly alluding to in the past 10 minutes, for the past 10 minutes, Lieutenant Surge's checkpoint opens up a ton of the game that people hopefully thought about over 2.5 hours. I don't actually know the exact pathing that you need to take to make that work. But basically, with the Wigglytuff dead, this has huge implications, because that is another big, bulky Pokemon that could help with the Nuzlocke itself. I mean, just because it sucks in the 1v1 doesn't mean that it would suck in a Nuzlocke, just being able to keep things alive. So Zika's team, he's still got the Mime. He's still got the Clefairy, which you can grind up, the Magikarp, which you can grind up, Nidoran, which you can grind up, make it all work, and still keep things alive. So luckily, hopefully, Zika can keep it in here. But for Crisman, because of how little they caught during this and how much they lost, that's a very pivotal win for them to win with that Raticate in their roster. So good on Crisman here to take that victory, not fall behind even more. Joe Fluff did end up losing that. What'd you use again? Ivysaur, right. It does kind of suck to lose it. It's actually not on the team here, but it does kind of suck to lose that Ivysaur. But overall, I mean, Mr. Mime is just... We only saw one Mr. Mime because it's risky. Again, you could run into those Pokemon that could take the hit and go well with it, and just kill it on the physical side. Like, Raticate could take a Confusion and then 2-shot it. Maybe even 1-shot it, depending on your defensive IVs and the attack IVs on the Raticate. But honestly, getting killed with the Mime shows that, one, you have it, but two, like Code Warlock did this last week, or in the last week's checkpoint as well, where essentially they're going for power and they're going for victories. They're trying to take people out to weaken their checkpoint grinding, to weaken their progression. Especially knowing that once you get to Lieutenant Surge, there's a lot of progression you can make. And then even beyond that, like once you get to the Fuchsia checkpoint, pretty much almost all of the game, well, no, technically, once you get the Sabrina checkpoint, the whole game is wide open. So if you can reduce how much they can actually progress with that, and you can get ahead with the catches, you're going to be golden. So Code doing the right thing here, killing off as much as they can. Craig taking down that Wartortle on LC. That is a big deal. Wartortle is just really good in the Nuzlocke. It's the thing they use in speedruns for Fire Red. And like I said, Craig not having a lot of Pokemon to choose between, this helps quite a bit. because that victory doesn't put it behind even harder. This is strong enough. It did the job. He got the matchup. Not like he had a lot of choice here. He had 2 grass and a normal and whatever else he had on his team. So it worked. He made use of the sleep powder, did it well. And finally, with Scrubby Nubby Doo losing that oddish, not a huge deal. Let's be honest. Not the biggest deal possible. Could have been a lot worse. Kind of a throwaway poke, honestly, because you still have the other stuff. The Mankey staying alive is the more important thing here for that duck, because it's just a Pokemon that's good. Like, Mankey is just a good Nuzlocke Pokemon. It's a good 6v6 Pokemon. I would argue no, but it's good to get through the Nuzlocke. It's got a lot of offense, cleans up things quickly as well, because speed and not dying is very important in Nuzlocke. So if you can use Mankey to get through a lot of early game trainers really quickly, you have a lot more time to use. And even, like I said, that duck has been rocking that really close timer non-stop. So, you know, these are the types of important stats to pay attention to. So what are we looking forward to when it comes to week 3? Week 3, the Lieutenant Surge checkpoint. You now have cut, and you now have like 1/3 of Kanto being open. So let's take a look at week 3 stats. Honestly, I thought a lot more would get caught than this on everybody, but I'm going to temper because I haven't been watching the matches, so I don't know. I don't actually know. But nonetheless, let's take a look at the Lieutenant Surge checkpoint. We're going to be checking out 6 of the players. 2 of them did not get their information into the analysis box that I have. So, did I point the right way? Hold on, let me check something. Analysis box that I have. So, nonetheless, we are going to be looking at total in-game time, and this is actually pretty impressive if you take a look at this. Let's take a look, first of all, at Code Warlock. That man that is 2-0 sitting right now, winning it, and just having that really strong team. No deaths. Great Pokemon here. The Drowsy and the Diglett could become pretty special. The Porygon can as well. In a 709 IGT, that's extremely impressive considering that they're winning, they're grabbing Pokemon, and they're not dying. And they're fast. Now, that does mean that there could be more grind time here overall for them if they wanted it to be for the purposes of the Nuzlocke. But also, just taking a look at the other times, you can definitely tell that Code is making his way through these checkpoints quite effectively and making good use of where he could go. That Porygon, unless it's been moved somewhere, like, I'm trying to think. Once you get access to Cut, you can go east over to Route 9 and 10, Rock Tunnel. You can go down to Celadon to buy a poke if you want to in Celadon. You can go down to the Rocket Headquarters or Rocket Hideout to grab the Sylph Scope to then go grab something in Lavender Tower, which you could then use to try for the Snorlax, all before you beat Lieutenant Surge. Cool. Okay, Greg. Good to know. That's why I'm assuming they got the Tauros. There is a lot you could do in this game. A lot you could clear in this game once you get cut. You could also go past down to Diglett's Cave. You got Route 11, Route 12. You got fishing now because you got the old ride. You can go back and grab yourself a couple of Magikarp if you wanted to, or whatever else is in the water in this version. But there is a lot of encounters that they can go grab. I believe they can also get T? Can they get the T? I think they can get the T and go into Saffron if they wanted to, which gives them really good items for the Nuzlocke. Yeah, you just need the T, right? You don't have to complete Rocket Highway. You can just grab the T and go in. So, like, there's a lot of the game is basically open, actually, because you can even rush down to Fuchsia if you had 2.5 hours to get all the way back. Unfortunately, you can't use Fly right away, but what you could definitely do for the past the 3rd checkpoint is go grab Fly early on, even though you can't use it until you beat Lieutenant Surge. You just have access to it right away. You can just instantly go over to Celadon and just try and get as much stuff as possible done. You can even visit all the way down to Fuchsia. Like, what I would imagine you do is unlock all the checkpoints and then use kind of that 4th and 5th checkpoint to sort of grind up a bunch to make sure you're not losing any battles, because the stronger that your Pokemon are, the faster you're going to be able to complete all of the required pokes, or all of the required trainers and all the required story-related things. But then you could grind, then you could just go crush the gyms in like under 5 minutes before your time is up. So this is where this gets really interesting, because just the amount that actually opens up. That's why I love actually speedrunning Gen 1, especially in bingos, because so much opens up once you just get cut, which is hilarious. Kind of makes a key item random kind of worthless for it, but also you want to see it. Nonetheless, let's take a look at the Pokemon that have been caught for these 6 players. That Duck Catcher, Nidoran, Male, Mr. Mime, Abra, Oddish, and Bellsprout. Again, very basic, straightforward Pokemon here based on the time. Having to make up some of that time, trying to go back, trying to catch some things. Overall, only losing Nidoran, Male, and the Graveler. Yeah, having a Nidoking would be pretty important, but, you know, it depends, right? It depends on the Nuzlocke, and if you lose a Nuzlocke, well, then you can't really think about what you lost. I can think about it and going, Nidoking is really good. You should use Nidoking. But otherwise, you know, the roster is still there. Duck's in it. Could probably still run it. And we have so much open now. A lot of encounters can be grabbed. Just get someone who's really high level and just go and try and catch other Pokemon to fill this roster. Craig, however, has got the Loot Horde right now with the Haunter, Execute, Nidorino, Venomoth, Snorlax, Dugtrio, and Tauros. Snorlax is disgusting. Tauros is disgusting. Executor could become a pain in the ass. Like, Haunter is a pain in the ass. There are a lot of things here that Craig just picked up that's going to give them some good control. Haunter having access to Nightshade, first of all, makes 1v1 Cagelocks kind of interesting. You can put them to sleep. You can paralyze them. You just start whittling down based on the levels. Because if everything is scaling to the same level, right now they should be level 25 at this checkpoint. Most Pokemon don't have more than 100 HP. So you're killing them in about 3 to 4 Nightshades. And you don't have a lot of weaknesses. Things can have Pursuit. You know, you have like Rattata, I believe, or Eradicate, which can learn Pursuit. I believe same thing with Fearow. They're scaled to 100 now? Oh, I thought we were still scaling them up. Okay, cool. Nonetheless, it still doesn't matter because Haunter is still a really good Pokemon if it can't get hit. And it's really tricky too because in 1v1s, you don't know what Pokemon you're going to be sending out. If you send out a Pokemon and then Haunter shows up, you're like, oh, my Pokemon can't touch this. So, you know, it's a Pokemon that'll be definitely good on the week, checking out what everybody's got and what they don't have. So, it could get some easy wins. It could also just die, and that's the only place that they can catch ghosts unless that's changed too. I'm gonna need that change to the encounters waffles. Yeah, I'll take that. Now the opposite of the Loot Horde is here. Down in Lowtown, if you will, as Joe Fluff only getting the Bellsprout and the Tauros. Now, having said that, they only picked up a weed, but they picked up the AAA grade Canadian beef that could literally wreck everything, and I expect Tauros to be destroying all of these Nuzlocks because Tauros is by far one of the best Pokemon in Gen 1 to be created even since Gen 1. So, even though it gets a bunch of just stab normal moves, the TMs it can get is nice. It's just straight power, access to Intimidate. This thing has a lot of utility, just a lot of offensive pressure on teams, especially in the 1v1s, and I expect these to be trying to live for the 6v6s. But we'll see. I mean, maybe people have other ideas of what the Tauros is going to be doing for their 1v1s. Maybe just look at other people and go, yeah, your team sucks, Tauros! But, overall, I'm a conservative player. I wouldn't be using my best. But why not? Crush people with the best. Sure, why not? Here we go. Code Warlock. Get that Porygon we already talked about. The Drowsy, Voltorb, Diglett, and Onix. That is not bad. I'm going to change this because this tilts me. It's spelled with an I, not a Y. It's not your fault. I just need to change it. Okay, good. Now, those Pokemon are okay. Hypno becomes pretty bulky. Electro becomes pretty fast. Dugtrio becomes a pain in the ass. Porygon can do some cheesy stuff. Also gets access to Bolt Beam, which is really nice. The best offensive coverage in the game, hitting 14 of 18 super effective types, or in this case 17 because there's no Fairy type. Nonetheless, Onix, it's a Pokemon. Anyways, Scrubby number 2, Tauros, Geodude, Drowsy, Diglett, Meowth, Sandshrew, and Dugtrio. That Meowth, that Persian can be very powerful. Slash Persian, even if it's not Gen 1 mechanics, is still really good, and Persian can run mixed movesets. I can't remember what exactly learn on the special side, but it can learn on the special side and still be effective. That speed can be very, very good in 1v1s. There are a lot of Pokemon that I could talk about that'd be decent in the 1v1s, especially based on their coverage, and we're going to take a look at that later on with the future checkpoints, where we start seeing like what TMs could be accessible. I'm not going to know that, but nonetheless, it just has good stats for 1v1ing. And with a high crit chance there, you have about a 12.5% chance to end the battle just that much faster. So, but nonetheless, that's going to be a good Pokemon, hopefully, to manage it. Now, having said that, though, it did die. So, on top of the Tauros as well, I just noticed the Tauros, the Diglett, and the Butterfree dying too. Never mind. I was going to talk up Meowth, but Now it's dead. So either way, that would be a good Pokemon if you guys do get Meowth on you, because Persian can actually just be a good revenge killer with the moves that it does get. Zikafus. Last one. Diglett, Bellsprout, Meowth, and Oddish. The Mime and the Diglett both dying, but the Meowth is alive, so I can still talk about the benefits of a Persian being on the team. Other things to note about what was happening on the teams here. We do have a Graveler coming in here for Code Warlock. Nice bulky Pokemon, especially if you see that your opponents have lost their Squirtles and their Bulbasaurs. Maybe they don't have a lot of the grass Pokemon left. Graveler can get easy win if they can't touch it. On top of that, Pikachu evolving to Raichu here for Scrubby Nubby Doo. Raichu is pretty powerful, doesn't need to learn more moves, but it just has a lot of good stats on it, both physically and specially offensive. Plus, it's rocking a good 110 speed, I believe, or 90 speed or whatever. No, it's 110 speed. It's pretty good. Kadabra also evolving your Scrubby Nubby Doo, so getting past that useless part of Abra into the good part. I do expect Scrubby to be putting up some good times now. Considering that the time here on a 910 IGT is not bad. And I do expect that to go a little bit faster now. They could grind more with a Kadabra using Confusion. That's just going to be a lot of power. And finally, that Weepin' Bell coming in here for Zikafus. It's got more stats. I can't really speak much on it. Once it becomes a Victory Bell, then talk to me, because that's when Victory Bell becomes very offensively pressuring and very scary. Let's take a look at the matches. By the way, good to see everybody in chat. I'm not answering right now, but Miracle Ghost, Lost Crusader, Jet Punch, Craig, good to see all of you. Waffles, of course. The man running this tournament, if you guys are interested in it, make sure you go over to twitch.tv/WafflesTheGoodBoy, which I should probably just, you know, shout out and make that easier for you so you don't have to look it up. But they are the ones organizing this event, so I highly recommend you go check it out. We'll be covering this weekly, generally speaking, and go from there. Your replay is now there? Oh, god dang it. Where? I look in the Discord. Is it in the Discord? I don't see it. I don't see it in the Discord. Oh! Wait. Do I have you? Oh, I have you here. Never mind, you're good, Lost. I don't have the other two. Yeah, they posted it yesterday. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this first match, I'm going to hype it up completely, only to crush your dreams beyond all imagination. I want the world's biggest comeback story to happen with this, and we're going to make that happen. Are you ready for this? Are you actually ready for this? Wait for it. Here we go. Let me get you a little bit of more hype music, because this battle should excite you in the implications of what can happen. Where did my uh-oh. Shh, the battles are missing. Hold on. It doesn't remember that I switched. I had to break them up because 2 weeks. This won't happen usually. No big deal. Well, I'm going to show off Streamlabs. Say hello, everybody. Okay. This battle looks like it's a David versus Goliath battle. And you're right, it is. Tiffany has to take out the beast. This is not your Disney bullshit. This is truly what Paris can do to take down a Nidoking, and the answer is absolutely nothing. That Nidoking is going to crush it with Peck in 2 hits. It's going to try and paralyze it. The Paris is going to try and take it down the best it can, has access to cut. It's a 9-hit KO, and it dies in 2 shots. GG, it was close. On to the next match, Diglett versus Tauros. Same thing here. You ever seen a whack-a-mole? Well, now cows can play it too. As Secret Power one-shots the Diglett and makes that the quickest thing you've ever seen in your life since Insta-Rice. Next, the one that actually might be the most interesting here, we got a Haunter versus a Weepin' Bell. This is what I'm talking about. Weepin' Bell can't touch Haunter, unless I don't know something about it. But last time I checked, you can just status it and hope to God he's got Haunter. He's got Haunter with the Sabrina Psychic. So, yeah, you can put it to sleep. Yeah, you can wipe it like 10 times. You could growth. That's not a half bad idea. Try and take it down here in 3 or 4 hits as he's still sleeping on the job. But as you can see, it doesn't do a heck of a lot of damage. That's a 6-hit KO. I would just go for more growths here. Pray to God he stays asleep, misses somehow. He's still asleep, still whipping ghosts. No idea. Maybe there's a new patch of Phasmophobia that I don't know about, but it is going to be taken out. And that is literally 1 minute and 20 seconds of absolute destruction. GG, well played, gentlemen. No. Okay, now. Going back to the implications of all this. the serious stuff. All right. With that Paris dying, I'm going to tell you right now, Duck should probably just quit the tournament. I'm so kidding. Paris is absolutely goddamn useless. This was a throwaway. Duck's fine. Duck's perfectly fine. Didn't lose a lot on the week. He's going to be okay. I have a sneaky suspicion that Duck is not going to sweat the small stuff here against Code Warlock, but once again, 3 in a row now. Code's just throwing out power and is asserting dominance in the 1v1s, trying to make people's lives horrible. Maybe people are catching on to this. Maybe they just always have a dumpster poke go into the 1v1s. Nonetheless, still not the worst thing in the world here. This next one, though, Lost Crusader losing that Diglett to the Tauros. Again, it's nothing. It's fine. Diglett is good, but it's not the best. Sure, it could get more done, but really, you know, it's... I don't know, actually, we didn't have the information on what Lost Crusader did, but... Wait, did I? Where is Lost Crusader? How do we have 2 missing pieces of information? That's fascinating. Okay, either way, not a big deal. Nonetheless, Dugtrio exists. Diglett, it's a Diglett. It can evolve into a Dugtrio, but Dugtrio needs a lot of support to make it actually good. It's going to be much better in a 6v6, but you can still build a good 6v6 without Dugtrio, especially if yours didn't get access to Arena Trap, because Arena Trap is really, really powerful, if you can make that work. But this third one here, Weepin' Bell, dying to the Haunter. It's not a big deal. This week is kind of funny because for everything that's open, now we're going to get to that spot where there's going to be so many Pokemon to catch, hopefully in your Nuzlocks, and the amount of grinding that you could do and the grinding up here. Like, you could already see that Craig ran all the freaking way in 8 hours and 8 minutes to Saffron to grab Psychic to put onto the Haunter. That already indicates one thing to me, that this Haunter will be used in the future for 6v6, and that's just asserting dominance. I would have even hidden that to not show people what's going on with the TMs, but that's just metagaming. Nonetheless, to get that victory, to keep it alive, to show that, hey, I caught a bunch, I'm also going to win on the week for week 3. Overall, Weepin' Bell, not a huge loss. Yes, Zikafoos did lose a couple of things, but Meowth is still on the team. I believe in the Meowth. I really hope that that Persian actually gets used at least once in a 1v1 or in a 6v6 just to see what it can do, because I do believe it has a lot of potential to be a great revenge killer considering the restrictions of a Nuzlocke situation. But honestly, you know, this was a week of not a lot of loss, which is nice because that helps quite a bit considering that even if a lot of people, especially during week 2, if we go back to the Misty checkpoint, the amount of death that we saw on this is quite extensive. With nobody actually having that potential, or nobody having that clean slate. This week we had 2, Joe Fluff and Code Warlock. So overall, what am I thinking? We got some decent teams going on. Do I know what's going on in red and blue? No, I'm keeping it as a surprise to myself. That's what I'm going to call it. On top of that, we are now getting into that 4th checkpoint. Let's talk about the Erica checkpoint. The Erica checkpoint, same pretty much as, well, no, it's going to be way better because now you have Fly. So what does this mean? Expect people to grab Fly, go all over the place, start grinding up on higher level Pokemon. We're going to see some moves that you wouldn't expect on these Pokemon so early in a checkpoint, but because we have so much access to it, Strength and Surf are going to be on Pokemon. You're going to see potentially Fly on Flyers just to try and get, or well, I mean, it is going to be on Flyers. I'm thinking Rando for some reason. But you are going to see a lot stronger Pokemon, I think, starting at the 4th checkpoint here. And honestly, there's so many trainers that you could use outside of Saffron. You can even go into gyms. You can go into Fuchsia's gym, beat up all the non-Kogas to then gain a bunch of experience. You can go into Erica's gym, beat up all the trainers before even fighting her. Like, there's so much you could do with this that there's a lot of information and a lot of experience and a lot of goodness that you can already start preparing for. You might not even see that many catches from here on out. The more catches we're going to see will be after the 5th checkpoint, or technically on the 6th checkpoint, because once you beat Koga, now you have access to Surf. That means we get Cinnabar encounters, we get Seafoam Islands encounters, we start getting all those areas that people couldn't catch in before, and that'll basically be the entire game opened up. So I expect next week's week 4's checkpoint to be kind of boring. Not in a bad way, though. In a way that there's just not a lot going on. It'll just be preparation for the 66. Also preparing those Pokemon that may be the linchpins for winning in the 1v1s. So, are they allowed to catch to make it up to the EXP share, Waffles? Like, they're allowed to just catch enough to grab EXP share? That's fair. Okay. That is fair. Nonetheless, overall, looking more promising here. Good to see people who are losing a lot of Pokemon catch a lot of them back and be alive and well and kicking and still trying to put up a good fight. We'll see what ends up happening in future checkpoints. But that's it for me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching Week 2 and Week 3's recap of the Green Division for the Waffles the Good Boy Bonefeather Cagelocke tournament. We will see you apparently 2 weeks from now because my division needs a week. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace. Okay, we're done now. Good. Excellent. Hi, guys. What's up? Catch one of everything? That makes sense. Wait, there's no, like, nuzlocke rules? They can still catch one of everything? How many rules changed since the last time I looked in that room? Okay, what do they have access to? Dratini with the Super Rod, Farfetch'd, Jinx, Seafoam, that makes... I thought you could already catch Jinx and Seafoam. Or she just trade? I don't remember. Lickitung, Eevee, Scyther, and Pinsir. Oh, they can actually catch the starters again? Oh my god. Cool. Cycling Road and Mount Moon. Oh, dude, Cycling Road Chansey grinding? Holy mackerel. They'll be perfectly fine on XP. Take both fossils and both fighting Pokemon. Yep, the level 37 makes sense. Chairman has a Soothe Bell. They get the skateboard. Roar is now double team. All instances? Interesting. Fascinating. Okay. Any questions, Green Division? Other than, why the hell am I in charge of it when clearly I don't know half the rules? Look, Waffles, the check's in the mail, man, okay? You're good. You're good to go. Yeah. Oh, whoa, that's not me. There you go. All right, not too bad. Not too bad. I think brushing my teeth in the beginning actually helped quite a bit. I don't have as much phlegm at the end. My throat doesn't hurt too much. Yeah, there's tons of dancing and Pokemon emotes for better Twitch TV on this channel. You can just enjoy those. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen post Celadon. To be honest, I think Saffron's checkpoint's gonna be the cracking open point. I think it's when we start seeing people not being as aggressive and start just preparing for the 6v6. I wouldn't want to sell out that many Pokemon or show many Pokemon like what they're getting designs with. So should be interesting. Yeah, that's it. That's done. I'm done. That's pretty much all I'm here for. Hey, your form's done? Hell yeah, man. Nice. Yeah, I'm not staying live. I'm just going offline because I have a long stream tomorrow. So, for those who are here, thank you very much for coming out. I'm gonna be trying to do the Green Division on Saturdays. So probably in a couple of weeks. I don't know exactly about in a couple of weeks though, because I do have tournaments that will be running on Saturdays as well. So that date might change. I actually don't know when I'm gonna do this anymore because of the number of job changes I just had in this past week is kind of ridiculous, and there are a couple of other ones that are on the fence. So I can't fathom how much different my week's gonna look. But I'll be live. You followed. Thank you very much, Lost Crusader and Sam Killed the Bear, for the follows. Appreciate that. I'm hoping it won't be too difficult to do one a week, or maybe I just do 2 in 1 week. I don't know. We'll have to see. Probably just, I might be able to maintain the 1 a week. Like I said, the other tournament's gonna be starting up. Also gonna have another tournament starting up. That will be announced tomorrow, by the way, if you guys would like to come out to my streamiversary. Just this past Wednesday was 6 years on Twitch for myself. So tomorrow we'll be doing a nice long celebration stream. Nothing too ridiculous, some Pokemon speedruns, and a little bit of One Step from Eden. Basically, you can call me Goose with socks, but I'm not a goose, and I wear socks all the time. So yeah, you can just call me with socks, and we can go from there. But yeah. Yeah, that'll be starting at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Let's find someone to raid and we're out of here. If you'd like to take a look at the information, or if you'd like to keep up to date with everything that's going on, the Discord is the place to be to get that information. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Noob with socks, probably. At that point, you can just call it noob. I'm very rarely without socks, mainly because I used to work as a karate instructor. So I was always barefoot and I got tired of it. I like socks. Okay, we're gonna head over. Is she still live? Is she still doing stream reviews? Yeah, she looks like she is. We rarely get to raid her, so let's go raid her. We're gonna go raid Solcy. She's actually a Twitch stream coach. And she is currently reviewing someone's channel. She is very knowledgeable. You may or may not see something in the future from me and her. Potentially. I can't talk about it much. But, let's go say hello with some new squids. It's a ProPokeNoob. Thank you very much for coming out today, guys. You have an excellent day. We'll see you in a couple weeks for the Bonefeather tournament, or we'll see you tomorrow for the stream anniversary. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and peace.